Here we go. Another I-35 Realty show on this great hot Saturday. And we have Bill Vernon, your host, here talking to you right now. Your Central Texas realtor for this great state that we live in. And then we have a very important person also here helping us out. We got Mr. Jamie Green at the board. How you doing, Jamie?
Good morning, sir. How are you this morning?
I'm doing good. Are you hot enough? Are you...
It is a scorcher out there.
Yeah.
Admittedly, it hasn't been that bad all week. So
yeah, we're due. So let's quit complaining and let's start talking about the hot real estate market that's going on right now. Hey, of course, I want you to reach out to me. You can always call us during the week at 888-559-5217. You can email us at radio@i35realty.com. Check us out at i35realty.com as well. And you can see us on Facebook at facebook.com/i35realty.com. Check out our videos. There's some great videos of some houses we got out there on youtube.com/i35realty. Run that all together. And if you have a real estate question, we're going to kind of break with the tradition here. And if you have a real estate question, reach out to us, 254-773-1400. And, of course, you can listen to us on the internet as well on the ktm.com website. And so we're going to start talking about real estate now. Appreciate you listening. You know, I just want to say just how great it is to be in real estate and how thankful I am that I get to hang out with great people. I had Mrs. S call me. I sold her house last month, and she called me about moving in her house in Arizona, told me that it was like being on vacation every day. And as she was talking, she goes, Bill, I really appreciate what you did for us, and I really count you out as a friend. And I'm so thankful that every day I get to meet people like Mrs. S and Mr. S, and we get to get in that kind of relationship. And that's the relationship I want with you. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, I want to build that kind of relationship with you. So go ahead and give us a call at 888-559-5217. Now, we always go over some statistics on some shows, and this is one of those shows where we're going to look at statistics for the Temple Belton, Greater Fort Hood, Killeen, and the Waco boards, and that is what has happened in the last 30 days in new listings, expired listings, and pending contracts. New listings in the Temple Belton board, we got 300 new listings, and the expireds for the last 30 days were 32. Yeah, did you hear that? We had 300 come on the market, of which 10% kind of disappeared, no longer for sale. And that doesn't sound too good. So let's go. The pending contracts for Temple Belton is 212. To kind of give you some ideas of in June, new listings were at 302 and 34%. Do you kind of see a pattern there? I do. Almost 10% of the houses are expiring. What is going on there? I'm going to tell you right now that you have realtors that are not explaining the market to 10% of the market out there. And, of course, I want to be that agent for you that makes sure you're not one of the 10% that don't get their house sold. Let's go to Greater Fort Hood. New listings, 438. Expired listings, 91. Now, you kind of go, ooh, gosh, that's more than that 10% that Bill's talking about. Well, what I want you to look at is in June, the new listings were 363, and the expireds were 108. So at least they're dropping. The percentage is dropping. And the pending contracts in Killeen for the last 30 days was 289. Now, in Waco, the last 30 days, new listings were 370. Expired listings, 59. Yeah, we can kind of see that's not good. Pending contracts, 241. So that is the statistics going on in our markets that the I-35 Realty does cover. Again, Central Texas Realtor, when you're dealing with me, many times your house will appear in more than one MLS. So therefore, and you'll be surprised how many Killeen agents that are not in the Temple Belton MLS will call me and come see my Temple stuff. And so you want to be involved in that. Let's talk about some properties. I got one that's coming soon in Eddy. 837 West 3rd Street. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's $1,276 on the square footage. We haven't really settled on the price yet, but these people are, telling me, hey, we want to be realistic. We want to price it to sell, and I'm like, let's do that. Right now they're doing a little fix-up before we come out with it. Loved the floor. My wife and I, we won't tell you why my wife was there, but anyway, she was on their appointment. We were oohing and ahhing on their flooring. So you want to look at that. And then we also wanted to look at a new listing we got in Chilton, 217 County War Road, 4023. I'm telling you right now, this is a house. If you're wanting to kind of have a country house, still got city services, city sewer and city waters, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2049, has a 2,000 square foot wood shop on it. Used to be a carpenter shop. We're asking $149,900. I'm telling you, that carpenter that was doing that woodwork, that Mennonite that was doing all that woodwork, was doing it on that house. You want a classic Texas house, there it is. What I'd also want to kind of talk to you about is this weekend is we want to kind of go over some national and regional news. So let's look at the second quarter Texas foreclosure housing affordability data that was released. Now, there's a great website, Texas A&M Real Estate Center, or what occasionally I'll probably say it, Recon. You'll hear me say Recon. That's what I'm talking about. It's a great setup, and I would encourage you to look at it. And they had a great article that came out yesterday about what is going on in our markets. So on the second quarter, reports key to assessing the home market's health were released yesterday. The Mortgage Brokers Association, the NBA, reported provided foreclosure and mortgage delinquency rates, while Realty Track provided housing affordability data. According to the NBA report, the percentage of Texas home loans in the foreclosure process at the end of the second quarter was 1.01%. That is darn good, people. So, because we're going to compare it with the 2.49% for the United States. So, we're not in foreclosure city in the state of Texas. And that is great. That shows our economy's doing good. Let's continue on without my editorializing. Texas also fell below the United States in the percentage of loans on which foreclosure actions were started during the quarter, which was 3% compared to the 0.4%. Did I say 3%? It's actually 0.3% compared to the 0.4%. And the percentage of loans that were seriously delinquent, 3.1% compared to the national average of 4.8%. However, the total percentage of loans with installments past due was higher for Texas than the nation as a whole, which was 6.61% compared to the 5.96%. So the NBA reported, did I say NBA? How about MBA? Reported that nearly 3 million loans were served in Texas. National total was almost 41.2 million. I don't know why they said almost. It's either is or isn't. It's either 41.2 or it isn't. But okay, without that editorializing part of it, what I'm seeing is in Texas we have a good market, real estate wise, and I'm really pumped about that. Hey, let's talk about another great new listing we have, which was 9078 FM 2601 in Moody. This is a farm-to-market road right off 317. So if you want to get a great buy, which is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, double wide that's on a half acre, it's 1,200 square feet, has an add-on area. They call it their utility room. It doesn't have AC and heat in it, so if you put a good window unit in it, you got a man cave. You got a place for the kids to go hang out, and it's priced to sell at $65,000. I'm telling you, great buy. Hey, we want to talk about also another one in Moody, since we're in Moody, at 700 Avenue F in Moody, which is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. It's 1624 on the square footage. They're asking $55,000 on it. That was built in 1923. Really love this house. Has a lot of character to it. Ready for you to move in. So why don't you give us a call? Want to talk about a couple of things. The people ahead of me, we got the great legal eagle Ed Lofton, and we got those two great investment advisors, and they kind of stole a little bit of my thunder. Ed did a great job on explaining foreclosure court sales. The only caveat I would put to that, again, is you better know what you're doing before you walk into one of those, because there's a lot of pitfalls involved. And then just to give you a little tip, a real quick tip, and maybe later on we'll kind of go through that. I've been through a couple of classes on this, and you can go look it up on my website and see that I kind of know what I'm talking about here. And that and it was several hours of us talking about this. One of the strategies that you would want to do, a little tip, is if you're going to buy a house, and let's just pretend you're going to pay $100,000 for it, you don't take a $100,000 bucket of money up there. They don't take credit cards. They don't wait for you to get lending. So you need to have cashier's checks ready to hand over and pay for it right then. What I would do is not take a $100,000 cashier's check, because they don't give change either. They don't have change for you. So what you need to do is actually have $10,000, $5,000 cashier's checks. And as you negotiate, as you do the bidding in the auction, then if, lo and behold, you actually got it for $95, you can hand them the correct change. So you want to kind of think about that when you're dealing with foreclosures. I loved Ed's talk about that. And then something that is kind of, I heard them talking about millennials during the investment portion of this great lineup we have at KTIM. And I wanted to pull this article out and kind of talk about it. And this is Diana Olick over in CNBC, and she did one, millennials are dragging down home ownership. And I want to kind of talk about that because I think it's serious. Now, this is national news, and she pointed out this: rising home prices, skyrocketing student loan debt, rising mortgage rates are changing life choices. Any one factor would affect how and when people make a single largest investments of their lives. But add them all up, and the results are striking. The national home ownership rate fell to 64.7% in the second quarter of this year, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. That is the lowest level in 19 years. Into that, just over 1 million homes with mortgages that were either delinquent or in foreclosure process. That was per Black Knight Financial Services, and the rate is even lower than recorded. There's not as much in our area. We don't have those issues. If you go to Florida, you still go to Phoenix, California, there's still a lot of pressure in those markets. So that little tidbit is what I want to put in front of you, that our market, this is national news, not our market. The millennial generation will have enormous influence in coming years, especially as they hold off on getting married and having children. The two biggest reasons for the first-time home buying purchases is exactly that: getting married and having children, said Zillow chief economist Stan Humphreys. The lower home ownership rate, because of these demographic shifts, will have a ripple effect, keeping rents high and potentially impact the broader economy as substantial fewer people pay property taxes and buy fewer goods. When you buy a house, you have this tendency to start painting it and putting your own paint signature on it, and you want to put some cool little bushes in there, and you want to put some cool furniture and appliances, and oh yeah, you were having that baby, so that baby just they don't sleep in the Chester drawer anymore. No, you get them a room that's really decked out. Well, if you're not doing that, see how our economy is going to be hurting. So millennials in general do tend to buy at some point, but the headwinds they face today are stronger than those faced by their parents and their grandparents. So I'm really kind of concerned for us economically long run because of this. Student loan debt is as large a deterrent, if not larger. And I've talked about that I'm seeing that right now, that many times people are rolling out with great degrees, a great job, and a large student loan debt that really confounds their ability to be able to buy a house. And in fact, at the end of the article, it's kind of interesting that they talk about exactly that not only do we have the issue of larger student loan debt ratios, but here's the next thing. While mortgage rates today are far lower than they were in previous decades, underwriting is far stricter than it was during the latest housing boom, and fees charged by government and entities, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which writes the mass majority of our loans, by the way, folks. Most of the loans you get are going to be done that way. Or even if someone else is going to do the loan, they're going to package them, and guess who they sell them to? And so they follow their guidelines when they do those packages. So even if it's done with ABC Mortgage, they have a tendency to run by those rules because they're going to sell it to them. And we're back to the article, the mass majority of new home loans are taking a bite out of the affordability because they are increasing the closing cost. They're trying to correct their previous mistakes back in the day. Here, look how far we are out. We're 7 years out, and we're still dealing with the echoes of the housing crisis that happened back in the day. We're back to the article. Mortgage closing costs have also risen 6% over the past year, now average about $25.39. However, I want to point this out. The article points this out. Texas closing costs are the highest at $3,046. Nevada has the lowest, by the way, if you wanted to know that. It's $22.65. So closing costs are pretty high here. So back to the article, even the low down payment option with loans backed by FHA and Freddie Mac and etc. is not as cheap as it used to be in the wake of the housing crash. FHA raised the insurance premiums on borrowers, and the average credit scores are higher as well. In other words, which is also kind of an interesting aside I want to talk about. If you and I just glanced at the article, Wall Street Journal says, hey, we might need to be messing with the credit scores because maybe they're a little too tough. So it'll be interesting to see which of those wins out. I want to talk about some more of our great listings. I'm telling you, here's two great houses. 3106 La Cruces in Temple. Love this house. Lots of living space because it's $26.50 in the square footage. 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. It has a separate mother-in-law's quarters, nanny quarters, whatever whatever you want to call it. A master suite off on one side of the house, and then on the other side you have the rest of the bedrooms. But also what I love about this house is there's plenty of living space. So Daddy can have the man cave, Mom can have the computer nook, and the kids can have their kind of hangout area. Lots of room on this. Big yard. I mean, I just sit there. I like going there just to look at the live oaks. Great house on Las Cruces in Temple. We have it at $179,900. Another house that's comparable but in a different city and over in Coppers Cove. This is Cedar Drive, 613 Cedar Drive, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2108 on the square footage. Great price at $128,500. Again, a house that's set up that everybody can have their own area. I love the fireplace where it's placed. It's not actually in the living room. It's in the dining room kitchen area. And why I like that is I really can see that being a focal point for the family. Everybody sitting down at the dinner table, just relaxing, talking, having a great time. Large backyard up on one of those mesas and cove so that you get that cool breeze we need on this hot summer day. So those are two houses you need to take a look at. Want to kind of chit-chat about some stuff and kind of talk about this. I want people to start thinking this way because really it has changed. A lot of people think, and they've heard this off of national news. I was given some national news earlier. Does that really apply to us? Something that is going on is I'll get this comment. Hey, I've had my house for a few years. We've had 10% increases in amounts of equity, and I'm kind of going, not particularly here. So then I get to have that conversation. No, it's not going to be 10%. In fact, you'll be surprised if you own your house for a few years, you might only have a couple percent. So I want you to be cognizant of that when I'm coming to you and talking to you about that, because that really affects your psyche when you hear national news. That's why you need me involved in the sale of your house, because I'm going to bring comps, we're going to look at stuff, and we're going to be thinking about that. Otherwise, if you're buying a house thinking you're going to hold it for a few years now and get some crazy money after you transfer or you do something like that, you decide to, it's too hot in Texas, I'm going to go back to I don't know where you'd want to go back, because Minnesota's too cold for me. Well, where would you go, Mr. Green?
I'll go back to Hawaii.
You go to Hawaii. Well, yeah, hurricanes and earthquakes. So let's go there.
Hey, you gotta take your risk somewhere.
You gotta live with something.
You're gonna have that problem somewhere.
Even Hawaii is not paradise, is it now?
No.
So I want you to think about that, so that your expectations are kind of set. That's very, very important when we're thinking about buying and selling property. Hey, we want to talk about the open houses we have. We got a bunch of them. 1, 2, 3, 4 houses i35 Realty.com has, and of course you can reach out at us at 888-559-5217. The open house that I'll be attending with another real estate agent is 13364 East Highway 84, Axtell. It's 2.5, 1749 the square footage, 1682 on the acreage. Has these 2 tanks that have stocked with bass, shops, barns. I'm telling you, this is a great house. So if you're thinking about needing some great property, I'm telling you, don't wait long. It's at $299,900. Another open house, we have 204 Topaz Circle in Hewitt. That's a 3-2. That's 3 bedroom, 2 bath. Sorry, Mrs. S, you got me on me. I hope you're listening to us in Arizona. It's 1554 in the square footage. It's 138,900. And we have another open house. It's at 243 West Hill in Hewitt, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 1527 square footage on that, 121,900. That is price, folks. I mean, that's a deal. Everybody goes, where's the deal? Where's the deal? I'm telling you, this one on West Hill is a steal, and you better get on this. Great school district, great location. Go see it. That one's 2 to 4. The Topaz 2 to 4. All these are 2 to 4. You've got another one over in Waco. This is 1125 Ballmere Road. It's a 4 bedroom, 3 bath, 2604 on the square footage, 3099. This is in Twin Rivers. Great house. So those are the open houses we're doing at I-35. We'd love to bring those to you so that you can actually bust in there. You walk in there, it's just a lot more relaxed kind of feel. And I want to give you that opportunity to come see our properties in the flesh. Again, you can reach out to me, your Central Texas Realtor, Bill Vernon, at 888-559-5217. And I want to really promote next week's show. Everybody wants to listen to this show. Hello. Call everybody, because we're going to have a great guest. We're going to have Thomas Beard, the real estate attorney, to come on and start talking to us about some great stuff. So, we're going to start listening to the music as it start coming up. I look forward to talking to you next Saturday at the I-35 Realty Show. If you need a realtor, you've just found them. We'll talk to you next week.